So I think her reassuring that and kind of talking about it, I need to come outside my comfort zone and kind of work on that. I haven't really advertised myself as a new agent, so I think social media is very huge. So that's kind of what I took away from all that.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Was anyone else in the class yesterday? No. If you are and you want to share something, just go ahead and unmute yourself. That would be great.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think just building off of that, you'll see that the Ignite sessions do tend to build off one another. Obviously, yesterday was focused on prospecting, and we'll go back to a few elements of that, and then we'll also build upon that. Matt will build upon that with the marketing pieces and designs that you can do in Command as well. So yeah, going to more than one Ignite session back to back is really going to be useful for everybody who's a new agent, especially. Hi, Patty.
Hello, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having it.
I do have to say, though, anytime I take an Ignite class, regardless of how long or how many times I've taken it, I always take something away from it. So it's always a great experience.
All right, well, it is 5 after the hour, and we're going to get started, and we'll see if some, as additional people come, we'll welcome them in to join us. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Matt Gibbs. I am the lead agent for the Gibbs team. I have been an agent with Keller Williams and a real estate agent for just over 6 years. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the Zoom room and give everyone a chance to introduce themselves as well. What I'd like you to do is share your name, your real estate experience, whether it's in years or months or days or maybe even hours. Share what kind of experience you have, and also share your favorite town or community where you like to sell real estate and where you like to work. So I'll tell you that my favorite area is Montgomery, New York. I really like the town and the village of Montgomery. It's where I grew up, and it's just a great area. So if you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell real estate in Montgomery, let me know. Danielle, you want to go next?
Of course, I'd be happy to. My name's Danielle Riggs. I am the Director of Operations for the Gibbs team, and I've been working with Matt for about 1.5 years. Oh, no, we're close to 2 years, right? And I've been licensed for about 1.5 years. So I became licensed after I joined the team. I think my favorite area to work in is Pine Bush, Walker Valley, Bloomingburg area. I love to sell where I live because you just know the area and you're passionate about it, especially if you enjoy living.
Muted.
Sorry, guys. I think that always comes across when you're selling in the area. So I like to sell where I live. Pine Bush, definitely.
Great.
Great.
Corinne?
Oh, sure. I have been in real estate since 2014 with Keller Williams on and off. And I really love, honestly, Ulster County, the whole county. I love Kingston, New Paltz area. Also over in Gardner. I just think it's a truly, truly beautiful and special area in the Hudson Valley.
Awesome. Great.
My background is Alaska, so that says it all.
And thank you both for co-hosting with me today. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Sherry, how about you?
Hi, so I'm a new agent, started a few months ago. It's been a struggle because I'm also a teacher, so I'm really trying to balance out the two. I'm not sure if teaching is the right career for me, so I really want to explore real estate. So far, so good. Some challenges with everything going on, but I'm willing to learn and willing to grow. I'm from the South Orangetown area, so obviously I would like to focus in the same area that I grew up. I love Rockland County in general, but specifically Orangetown. And that's really it.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. Patty, how about you?
Hello, I'm Patty Kowach, and I've just celebrated a year with Keller Williams at the end of May. I've had my license for 15 years, but always had another full-time job besides. So I'm really this is like my first really kind of trying just to do real estate. It has been challenging this 2020, but I have learned a lot in the past year that I've been with Keller Williams to run a business versus sell homes. So that's been a good thing for me. And I live in the town of Esopus, and I'm trying to build the business there first and foremost, but I'll go anywhere anybody would like me to help them buy or sell a home.
Great. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. All right, Olivia, are you on?
Yes. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'm a new agent as well. I got my license in March. So I'm a student. So like Sherry, I'm also just trying to explore different career options. I go to school in the city. So like I grew up like where Bayside, like in the city. But my parents recently moved to like Middletown, so I also want to like explore the cities around here as well.
Cool.
Excellent. Great. Thank you for sharing. All right. How about Jean? Are you there, Jean? Lisa says.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Yes, my name is Gene Nixon Billiers. I go by Nixon. I received my license back in December 2019. I've been with Keller Williams ever since. I live in Middletown, but I grew up in Spring Valley, Rockland County. So either or would be good for me. It doesn't matter to me. Wherever somebody wants a house, just let me know. I'll be there.
Cool.
Great. Thank you so much. How about Shalom? Shalom?
Yeah, hi. Okay. Sorry, I don't have the best service.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for
So
joining
I
us.
started a few months ago. And I hope to do business in the area, Hamon, New York, and New City. That's around my area where I live.
Awesome.
Great. And I think it's Laser, right?
That was me, Sean. That was me, Sean.
Oh, okay. He's on twice.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very good. And okay, so who else do we have here today? How about Alice? Hey, Alice, how are you today? Good to see you.
Okay. Hi. Yes. I'm not a newbie. Let's see, I got my license in 1977.
Cool.
I know. So I'm from the decade before we even had books for listings. We had little cards that you schlepped around in 5x3 file boxes. Meanwhile, so I'm a dinosaur, and I'm adapting. I've been only in real estate since then. So there I am, and I'm hoping I get a lot of information from you, Matt. I'm particular about, I don't know if you're going to cover this or not, social media and things like that in terms of the marketing. Are you going to cover any of that?
Yep. So we'll touch on social media a little bit. We're more going to be talking about like creating the marketing and the creative side of it than the actual like implementation. But we will be talking about how to create in Command, how to create like a post for social media. So
Oh, great. That's good.
we'll be part of the conversation.
Thank you.
And then, so next up I have, is it UG White?
Yes.
How'd I
Yes.
do?
Yes. How are you?
Great.
Okay, so I joined Keller Williams, got my license late December 2019, just in
Wonderful.
time for COVID. Yeah. So since then, I've been basically just trying to learn as much as I can. And I also have just recently received or got my New Jersey license. So I'm just trying to join the New Jersey MLS right now.
Wonderful.
So I would like to learn as much as I can, and social media especially. But to learn. Thank
Great.
you for
Well,
having me.
Thank you for joining us. And last we have, is it Ebru?
Yes. Hi. How are
Hi.
you?
So if you can introduce yourself, let us know how long you've been in real estate, and let us know your favorite town or area to work in.
Okay. So it's actually going to be about a year. I got my license last summer, July. And I'm still learning every day, just learning new things. My favorite, what was that area?
Yeah, favorite. What town do you like to work in, or what area do you like to sell real estate in?
Right now, I'm just in Orange County. So
Okay.
Newburgh, yeah, New Windsor.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I bet if we were to ask Alice, she would say that although she's been in real estate since 1977, that she is still focused on learning every day and growing her business every day as well. Is that right, Alice? Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that learning never stops. You know, Dulce Ferreira, who is the broker of record for the Middletown office, she always refers to it as her real estate practice, and that's because we're practicing every day and we're learning every day. I always have liked that perspective. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and start getting into the content of today's class. It is intended to be an interactive session, so please join in if you have comments, questions, anything like that. We definitely want to hear from you while we're going through today. Is that okay with everyone?
Yep.
Great. Yep. A little thing about Zoom, just so you know, there's a button down below that says reactions. So if you ever want to give a thumbs up, you can. Also, there's a across the bottom, there's a button that says chat. If you click on that, it'll open up a chat box on the right side. So if you'd rather put a comment in chat, you can, and we'll be monitoring that chat, and we can address questions and concerns through the chat box as well. Yet we love to hear your voice, so please don't hesitate to unmute yourself when you have something that you want to share with the group. So we're going to go here for about, I think, 40 to 45 minutes, and then we will stop and we'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back for the second half of the session, and we will plan to wrap up pretty promptly, pretty close to 3 o'clock. Is that good with everybody?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, sorry, you're right. Break around 3, finish at 4. Thank you.
Okay. You want me to go ahead and share, Matt?
Yes, please go ahead and share the screen. And there we are, session 2 marketing. Perfect. So we're gonna talk about growing your business through lead generation for buyers and sellers, and we're going to be talking about how you can market your listings for more business. Gary has always taught us that for every one listing we take, we should be able to get 2 additional buyers, and I think it's a great goal. For every one listing you take, have a goal to get leads for 2 additional listings as well, because that will cause you to constantly be growing your business. For those who want to follow along, the Ignite class is taken directly out of the MREA. I always have my MREA right here on my desk. And I'm always working out of the book. So marketing is in the lead generation section, which is pages roughly 133 to 150-ish. So we'll be talking directly out of the MREA a lot of today. If you don't have a copy of MREA, you should definitely look to get one. All right, so what's our next slide? There we go. So just want to talk briefly, and this is coming straight out of page 138 in the MREA. Can anyone share with me the difference between marketing and prospecting?
I would think prospecting is getting the leads, and marketing is basically how to get those people in your, contacts. You first to try to get them, and then marketing is how to basically now maintain them and keep them.
That is a great answer. Thank you. I always think, I think prospecting is for people that I don't know, and marketing is for people that I do know. Regardless of how well, there's different types of marketing based on how well I know those people, but I think that's a really good way to think about it, is prospecting those you don't know, marketing is for those you do. All right. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to jump in between screens here a little bit. Bear with me for a second. So let's think a little bit more about marketing specifically, and we could go to the next slide. There we go. So we're going to talk about marketing a little bit more here. What are some examples of marketing that you've seen or that you're familiar with? And it can be in any industry.
Advertising. Could it be advertising? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so advertising could be marketing or it could be prospecting. But when we're talking about marketing, we're talking about really trying to attract those people that we don't know. So yes, it could be different types of advertising, but there's definitely a lot of different types of advertising, right? So what kind of advertising have we seen, or what type of other marketing have we seen? Anyone else?
You could advertise on social media.
I didn't hear you, Gene. Can you try it again?
Oh, no, I said you could definitely advertise on social media. You could also do open houses. There's different kinds out there.
Yes. Yep, those are definitely two great examples. Thank you.
Direct mail campaigns.
Direct mail campaigns. Yep. So you might use those in a farm area, right, Patty? So you have a targeted area that you're gonna send out direct mail to. Perfect. Anyone else?
Supermarket carts.
Supermarket carts. That's one for sure. You see that quite often, right? Someone pays to have their picture and their information put on the front of every shopping cart at the local grocery store. Yep.
Door to door, not different doors, cold calling.
Yep. So cold calling and door knocking is probably more prospecting than it is marketing, right? Because we're really out prospecting for business instead of marketing. So the big difference here is that marketing, we're looking to get the people to call us, and when we're prospecting, we're really the one reaching out, trying to make the contact with those customers or future clients in the area. Any other examples of marketing you'd want to talk about?
Advertising a magazine,
Yes, that is definitely.
newspaper.
Yep.
And your websites also.
What was that?
On your websites, you can market on your website or information that you read on your websites.
Yes, correct, correct. And so if you were to, let me see here. If you were to look, if you have a copy of the MREA, if you were to look on page 138, you'd see a list of the most popular prospecting types and the most popular marketing types. Now, one of the things that Gary Keller teaches us in the MREA is that you really want to pick and decide which types of marketing that you want to do. And it should be about 5 different, no more than 5 types of marketing that you're doing at any one time, and create a plan around that. And then pick most likely 2 different types of prospecting that work best for you, and really focus on those. And you'll find that the majority of your business will come from 5 types of marketing and 2 types of prospecting. And actually, when you really get down to it, about 75% of your business will probably come from 3 of those. So let's go to the next slide. So we're going to talk about the characteristics and the pros and cons of different marketing types. So I think on the next slide, we'll actually see the list that's on page 138 in the MREA. There we go. Can everyone see that? And that also should be on page 4 of your participant guide. So if you can't see it on the screen, if you have your participant guide with you, we're on page 4. So let's kind of talk through the prospecting list first. So prospecting is broken out into either phone or face-to-face. That's a great point, Danielle. Thank you for that. Danielle put over in chat that she likes to think of marketing as being indirect and that prospecting is direct. It's a great way to differentiate the two. That's spot on. Perfect. Hey, and I see that Delise has joined us as well. Good to see you, Delise. So if we go down through this list, the first one under prospecting is listings without agency. So so that's former listings as an expireds or working and looking for sale by owner properties. Now we know that currently we can't prospect for those properties right now because of COVID restrictions, yet we definitely want to be aware of those prospecting types because come September, I think it's September 1st, we'll be able to get back into those types of prospecting. The second one is circle prospecting. Danielle, do you want to talk about circle prospecting for a minute?
Sure, I'd love to. So what does everybody know about circle prospecting? Does anybody know what that is?
Calling around your sale or listing.
Yeah, exactly, Alice. Thank you. So it's building a list of individuals around where you recently sold a home or listed a home. And yeah, exactly, Delise, your listing area. You're going to pull that list, and then those are the people that you're going to prospect to directly. So that could be any type of really of marketing or prospecting to that list of people. You could do door knocking, you can farm to them, direct mail, really whatever information that you're able to grab from that list. and get in contact with as many people in that area around where you just sold.
Great. Thank you, Danielle. And then you can see as you go down through the list there, there's also community outreach programs that can be a great way of prospecting as well. Building key relationships with corporations and builders, banks, third-party data companies, investors, that kind of stuff, which I think is definitely can be a great opportunity as well. Teaching and speaking opportunities. So it's always a great opportunity whenever we're teaching or even when we're taking a class. So that's why in the beginning, we gave everyone an opportunity to introduce themselves and talk about an area that they like to work in, right? Because that's a great opportunity to network with other agents. And it's very possible that there's people that are attending this class right now who might not want to work all the way up in Kingston and would be happy to refer their business, or vice versa. Someone might not want to travel from Ulster County down to New City. And so it's good to know and have a name and a face that go together as far as where we work. And you can see some other ideas there. Door-to-door canvassing, which is kind of like door knocking, right? Attending networking events, taking out booths and kiosks, and then walk-ins. Then on the other side, we have marketing. So we can do offline advertising, and everyone can kind of see the list of different options there. And then there's lots of online advertising options as well. We kind of talked about that a little bit. Broadcast content, so we can still use radio advertisements or television advertisements, that kind of stuff. Direct mail. Direct mail really seems to be making a comeback in our industry. It seems like more people are using direct mail, and I think it's because so many people have gone to online billing for all of their household expenses, and there's less mail in the mailbox. So now all of a sudden the direct mail campaigns seem to be gaining some traction. Giving out promotional items, public relations, news releases, that kind of stuff, and then sponsoring events in your area. Any questions about prospecting and marketing? All right.
I would just like to make the note that if you like this list, definitely screenshot it, or pull it out of your participant guide, because this is a great brainstorming activity for you too. If you feel a little bit stuck in the mud about how you're marketing or prospecting to potential clients, this is a great way to get those juices flowing in the future.
That's great. Thank you. We also have some activities that could qualify as both. So that's the middle of the page we see here. It could be farming. I think that picking up what we call a farm area, that geographical area where you want to work, where it's your ideal place for business. And I definitely understand some of you, when you introduce yourself, said, well, I'll work anywhere. I'll help a buyer or a seller anywhere in the area. And I think that would go for most of us. Like we would help anyone. Yet it's great to be able to pick a very specific area, even if you can get it right down to a specific neighborhood that you like to be in, and become the local expert in that area. And that's what a farm area is. It's not a farm as in like someone who grows vegetables or plants or animals. It's an area that you're going to choose to look for business in, and that's your targeted area. I love what you said there, Delise. It can help you to build a database around that area, right? Like you would want to take that and make that a specific part of your database and just keep working those same names and addresses in that area to grow business. You can hold events, which could both be prospecting and marketing, such as open houses, seminars, client appreciation events, and the like. Certainly networking is always a great opportunity, working your sphere and your past clients. allied resources, and networking with other agents for referrals. And then the last one we have there is your past clients, right? So people that have already purchased homes. Quite often, the buyer or seller that sits across the closing table from you, after that closing, that other agent very possibly will orphan that person. Once the deal closes, they forget all about them, they stop talking to them, and we call those orphaned clients. And when you can remain in contact with those people and consistently implement a system around staying in contact with them, they say the biggest challenge is having someone remember your name for repeat and referral business. So if you're the one that stays in contact with that orphaned buyer or seller, guess who they're going to remember the next time they want to buy or sell. All right, so are there any questions regarding these different marketing and prospecting techniques? Questions, comments?
I have a comment, Matt. Actually, I remember sitting in an ALC meeting with you when we were still in the office, and you had talked about your strategy around some expired listings that you're going through. And I don't know if you remember, but I just thought it was really brilliant how you were looking back at expireds from like 5 years ago or something. Mm-hmm. And you were saying that now is the time that you would be able to get them the price that they were looking for 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I call expired gold. There's gold in those expired lists. When you can go back in the MLS and look back 5 years ago, that is definitely a place where my belief on that, and I'm glad you brought it up, is that if someone wanted to sell their house 5 years ago, they probably still want to sell today, and yet that agent who had them listed on the market quite possibly has not stayed in contact with them, hasn't been talking with them, hasn't been keeping them informed of the market and the value that they were looking for 5 years ago. Most likely they'll find that value in the market today, or maybe more. So that's definitely a awesome spot to look at. So just really take the time. Now is a great time to create a marketing and prospecting strategy and a plan that you can implement for the rest of the year. And go through, have a brainstorming session, put this on a copied piece of paper and cross off the things that you know that you won't want to do or you won't like to do, because there's some things that each one of us will like doing, and there's other things that we won't. Danielle will tell you one of my least favorite things to do is cold call. I just don't care to talk to people that I don't already know. If I'm in relationship, I'll call them all day long and talk to them. Yet you give me a cold calling list and it's just not my strength. It's not what I like to do. So pick the things that you like to do, pick the things that work for you, and focus on those. So try to narrow down just five on the marketing side, and try to narrow down 2 on the prospecting side, and come up with 7. And then you could write a plan just around those specific 7 items, rather than trying to take on this whole list and say, oh, I'm going to do them all. Well, if you try to do them all, you most likely will not be able to execute at a high level, and you may not get the results you're looking for.
Delise, you have your hand raised?
What?
Yes, I do. Sorry. I wanted to say, just to piggyback off of what Matt said, also about people wanting to sell their house. From my side of it, I kind of like to work a lot more with buyers. And for people who weren't interested in possibly, or thought that they couldn't buy like months ago when you probably were talking to them, now is the time to loop them in, because a lot of things have changed with like lenders and rates. So it's definitely good to go off of this list, because you'll find out that you kind of you'll be leaving a lot of money on the table with people that you could definitely convince now into, searching actively. So that is definitely true what Matt said. And I do remember that conversation, Karim, when he had that, we were there. I don't remember what meeting it was for, but it definitely is true. And it is expired gold, because you realize all these people will start jumping at you, especially with how the market is now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delise. Personalizing your smart plans, Patty, I really do think that's a great idea. It's just right now, doing actual business, going out and showing houses is still a little bit challenging. Things are starting to loosen up a little bit and it's getting a little bit easier. Yet right now is still a great time to put these plans in place and really implement some things at a high level. I do like networking. Networking is definitely one of my 5. And Danielle made a mention of that as well. Yet you have to be very intentional when you go out to networking events. It's easy just to go there and be social and talk to people and then leave and not have anything tangible to work with. So I always set a goal for myself. So I'll say, okay, I'm going to this chamber event and my goal is to meet 10 new people that I haven't met yet and get their business card so that I can add 10 people to my database. Or I might go to a different event and my goal might be 15 or 20 people. Whatever it is, set a goal. If that's a strategy that you're going to implement, make sure you set that goal. And then after you get that new contact information, follow up and build that relationship.
Matt, I have a question.
Yes.
When you say 5 and 2, 5 marketing, 2 prospecting, would you say it's smart to do 5 of these, like one of the top line items, 5 of those, or do you think that you can pick one of the more specific subcategories and choose one of those as your 5?
I would say pick 5 specific items.
Okay.
I would believe that someone may be challenged. Let's say if I decided to pick offline advertising, I'll tell you, I don't want to have a budget to pay for radio, TV, newspaper, personal vehicles, and the whole list, right? Mm-hmm. So if I was to pick offline advertising, I would then pick one specific item that I'm going to become known for.
Great.
So if, like Alice mentioned, if shopping carts are my thing, well, I'm going to focus on shopping carts and I'm going to make sure that my face is on every shopping cart in every grocery store in my town.
I think there's a low return on that.
I would agree, Alice. And you know, some of what we're going to talk about today, and I think that can kind of move us into our next subject a little bit. We're going to talk about branding. And some of these ideas that are on here are a lot more about building your brand and creating brand awareness around your own personal brand than they are about directly generating leads. I think shopping carts is one of those things, Alice, right? People will remember your name because they saw your name and face on a shopping cart. I don't know the last time that I called an insurance agent for insurance because I saw their name and phone number on that shopping cart. Yet, if that person was to call me, there's name recognition because I've seen their name multiple times, or every time I go grocery shopping, I've seen their name. Do you guys kind of understand the difference in what I'm suggesting there?
Yes.
So this is the point that we're going to move into a marketing mastermind. We're going to mastermind around a few questions for the next, let's say, 20 minutes. So the first question is, how do you know where the customer is and how do you meet them there?
It's a good question.
And this question is a lot more, I'll say, philosophical than it is physical. We're not talking about where is the customer physically and how do we meet them there. What customer is your ideal customer? And how do you meet them where they are? Anyone want to jump in on that?
Well, I guess if it's within your community, is to try to be at the community local events or activities that might be happening in your town. I know with me at the baseball field when there is baseball, or, you know, school events, you know, I always try to remind people that I'm in real estate to, hopefully have them tell people within my town, oh, don't forget Patty's selling real estate if you're thinking about selling.
Perfect. I think part of answering this question is knowing who are your people? Who are your ideal clients? Who is the perfect person? Think about, if you've worked with people in the past, who was the person that really drove you, that really made you the best real estate agent you could possibly be? And think about who you struggle to work with. Who is it that just doesn't motivate you? Like, if you have to work with them, you're like, oh, I don't want to have to call this person back. By doing that, writing those things down and doing a little brainstorm, you'll really start to target in on who it is that you want to work with. I know some agents that absolutely love to work with first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers are their thing. Like, they just love the thrill of taking someone through that entire process and answering all the questions that they have, the hundreds of thousands of ongoing, relentless questions that never end. Not my thing. It's just not, it's not who I'm going to go after, right? That's not, and I can tell you that for me, I get super frustrated working with a first-time home buyer. They have way too many questions, and I get irritated by it. And so it's not, and that's not to say, right, Alice, is not to say that I wouldn't work with a first-time home buyer, but they're just not my favorite thing to do. So you really have to decide who are your people, who are the clients you're looking for. And I think that's how you then would be able to answer this question of where is the customer and how do you know, how do you meet them there? Anyone else have something to share regarding that question? How do you know where the customer is and how do you meet them there?
I would say I kind of like first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers, basically, they respect you a lot, your knowledge, and they kind of depend on you, and you feel like you're doing really a good job helping them out. And I find them at apartment buildings. And I have customers who live in apartment buildings, and I give them a whole bunch of my business card if they know anyone in the apartments that is wanting to buy their first house, and I got one referral from it. So, so I'll find them apartment buildings and just attending events also.
Great. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
This also speaks to how you are speaking with your potential clients and how you're branding yourself. This all moves into that, right? So if you love working with first-time home buyers, your branding probably has more to do with how you love to answer questions and you have a huge plan to help them along their process, and you filled out your Kelly guides for your app. Whereas Matt, maybe he's more working with buyers that are maybe looking at more of a financial perspective in their transaction. So perhaps he's branding himself that way with that value add. So I think that's really what this question is kind of intriguing you to think about. What are your activities and how are you actually building out your systems to also support the customers that you want to attract?
That's good.
Good. So the next question, how do you communicate your value proposition? Anyone want to jump in there? I'll ask a different question. What is your value proposition? I think that's where the first answer, what you need to answer first is what is your value proposition? As a real estate, as a realtor, what is your value proposition?
It's building trust. You build trust. You just basically, you're authentic in your dealings and respect privacy.
That is a great start. But there's another project that you should write down. So the first one we talked about identifying your ideal customer. Before that, we talked about really creating a strategy around marketing and prospecting. Here's the third one: really define your value proposition. Clearly define it and then write it down. And what that becomes, it's your elevator speech. It's your 1 minute when you first meet somebody. It's what you share with everyone every time to share your value proposition. So take some time, think about that. You know, it seems like there's not a lot of conversation around how you communicate your value proposition, but hopefully that kind of helps you get thinking about that it's important to identify and define what your value proposition is, and then be able to share it with everyone you know.
Matt, can I put you on the spot and let us know what your value proposition is?
Yep, that would help.
I believe in taking a consultative approach to my real estate business. I want to meet clients where they're at and consult and advise them on making the best decisions regarding real estate. That's it.
Great.
Is that like on your profile or bio? Is it on your bio? Like when you write your bio, should that be on it?
It should. Yes, that definitely should be part of your bio and part of your profile as well. Yes. Yep. And then our team has a value proposition as well, that we define, and that becomes our mission as a team. So, next question: how can you come from contribution or connect in a meaningful way? This is the point at which everyone gets to talk.
What was the question again?
How can you come from contribution or connect in a meaningful way? Anyone?
Hey, Matt, I have a question. Well, a question. Are you talking specifically from the marketing standpoint or just overall?
Yeah, from the marketing perspective, which overall would be like, it's why we do what we do, right? And when we're out in the community, like I love to give back. I'm the board chair for the local Boys and Girls Club, and I love what I do. Yet I also do it so that I can gain more business. I'm also very involved in my local Rotary Club and just get involved in the community and go out and do the things I can. And at the same time, I can also do that so that I can grow my real estate business while I'm doing those great things. So how can you come from contribution? What are some other ideas of how to come from contribution and connect in a meaningful way with your client base?
I would say being innovative, staying on top of like the latest technology and features, which helps bring out your business connection. But, you know, like mailings, like when you do postcards and things like that to your clients, you know, what I've done to a few of my clients who purchased recently, I've given out like gift cards for local like restaurants and things like that. Because now that everybody's home and people are eating a lot more, I've sent out a few like ShopRite gift cards, you know, just like a welcome, know you're staying in right now, you know, you could use a little something. It's just, you know, just being creative and keeping your ear to the street. I say that's my word for it, but it's just, you know, always, you know, trying to think outside the box. And as you said, meeting people where they are, if you know that they're a family with kids, you know, a couple of water guns. I have a new client that moved in, you know, not too far from me. You know, I went and purchased like a lot of the little squirt water guns because she has a couple of kids. So they're home from school. So this is like their downtime. And she sent me some pictures of them playing in the yard with their water guns.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Nice, nice. Yeah, I think that, I believe that potential clients want to see us as genuine, and they want to see us as someone who is doing it for, is in this business for the right reasons. To try to keep all this information closed up and keep it close to us and not be willing to share it, I don't think that that serves us and doesn't allow us to grow to our fullest potential. So you really have to look for ways that you can give back and that you can connect with people to build a relationship. That's what the fiduciary responsibility that we have. And you'll hear Gary Keller talk about that a lot. He talks about it almost ad nauseum, about that fiduciary responsibility. That's what will keep our industry alive and strong for a long time. And that fiduciary comes back to a relationship that we have to have. It's not about just quick go out and sell somebody a house and then move on. It's about creating those relationships and those meaningful connections. Anybody else have anything on coming from contribution?
Matt, do you think you can come from contribution by providing your clients with like market advice or insights on a consistent basis, even when you're not in a transaction with them, to keep them informed?
Yes, I love that. I think that is a great idea. I think a market update is something that should be in everyone's toolbox. And I think it's what the industry calls for from us, right? Like, I think about if it was my accountant, I would expect to get financial advice regularly from my accountant, even if I wasn't asking for it or calling for it. And if it was my doctor, I'd expect to get health advice sent from my doctor regularly to keep me healthy. And I don't think it's any different for us in real estate. I think we should be providing all of our clients with local market updates regularly. And how about that? Keller Williams provides us monthly with a this month in real estate that we can update and send out to our entire database. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Patty also said to connect to local lending partners to help your clients get qualified as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and to take that one step further, sometimes it's connecting our clients and potential clients with someone who can provide them with credit counseling so that they can eventually get qualified, right? Like that is something that we can do to come from contribution and help those who we know to get qualified for financing. And even if that means it takes them 6 months or a year or longer, get them connected with that local lending partner who we know will give them the counseling they need to be able to get qualified. Perfect, I love that. So how important do you think branding and aesthetic consistency is in your marketing? Anybody?
It's very important. It's very important for people to know your brand, and you have to be proud of, in order to show your true, you know. Like right now, I enjoy and I like working for Keller Williams, and if I don't like Keller Williams, it will not show. So you have to know who you're working with, and then brand yourself and be proud of that company. Or if it's in real estate, I guess, a broker that you represent, and that shows. You know,
Mm-hmm.
There are people who work for companies that they don't like, so it doesn't matter how much you try to brand yourself. People can basically see through it.
Danielle, what do you think? How important is branding and aesthetic consistency?
So important. I think it has to be one of the most important thing when it comes to marketing. You want to be top of mind and easy to find, right? And in order to do that, your brand has to be consistent in your marketing, because then even if your name isn't on something, say on social media, and it pops up and it's your branding and your aesthetic, people are automatically going to relate that ad to you, even if it doesn't have your name on it. So we'll talk a little bit more when we go into the next activity about branding and aesthetics and the consistency in your marketing.
Anything else? Anybody else have any other comments or questions around that? All right, so here's our last mastermind question. How should you follow up with leads that you have generated from your marketing?
Quickly.
Quickly, yep, that is a great answer. They say that when you have a new lead come in, for after the first 3 minutes, the likelihood of making contact drops by 10% every minute after the first 3 minutes. So by 10 minutes later, you're only 30% likely to actually make contact with that person. And the analogy that I always use with that, Patty, is this. If you had a storefront and someone walked into your store to buy something from you, or let's turn that around. If you walked into a store and you wanted to buy something, whatever it was they sold, and you walked in, the bell rings, right? Ding, ding, because you're on Main Street, and the bell rings when you walk in the door. If you walked in the store and there was no one there, how long would you wait until you walked back out the door?
Not very long. I didn't see anybody. I'd be a little concerned.
You might wait 2 minutes, right, Patty? I would think you might be, hello, is anyone here? And you might wait 2 minutes.
And then go on to the next place.
Correct. By 3 minutes, you're probably walking out the door and you're going to go down the street to the next place. And that's how this sense of urgency that we have to have when a new lead comes in, it's the same exact thought. If you think about that every time, all of a sudden your sense of urgency really increases around that. So how should we follow up with those leads though? So we're spending all this time, all this energy, all this money on generating leads. How should we follow up with them?
Smart plans.
As far as like with a phone call right away, or?
What's that?
You mean just as soon as you get the lead, give them a phone call and have a conversation?
Yeah, I would, my suggestion and what I heard at family reunion this year was follow up with them in whatever way the lead came to you. So if someone texted you, you should text them back. If someone called you, you should call them back. However it is that the lead came to you, use the same type of platform to follow up. And I love the answer, smart plans. That is what it's all about. That's why smart plans exist. And we should follow up with them regularly and consistently. And when we follow up with them regularly and consistently, that's when we'll get a better return and a better result on our lead conversion. Any other thoughts on lead follow-up?
Matt, do you give up on leads that don't get back to you? How do you sort them out, and at what point do you stop marketing to them, if at all?
The only time we stop marketing to them is when they tell us to stop.
Great.
We know that Jason Abrams has one of the best representations of it. For those of you who don't know, Jason Abrams is one of the top leaders in Keller Williams. He's known as the Jerry Maguire of real estate. He works with top performers and athletes on buying and selling real estate. And he has a great representation and a great discussion around the life cycle of a real estate client. And right now they're saying that it's about every 10 years that someone buys or sells real estate. So he has this curve that he teaches us that at the top and the bottom of every curve, it's 10 years. And so you don't know when a lead comes in, you have no idea where they're at in that curve, in that life cycle of a real estate client. They could be 9 days away from their next real estate transaction, or they could be 9 years away from their next real estate transaction when you get that lead to come to you. So that's why the answer is consistent follow-up with that person until they're ready. How's that? Is that a good answer?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so any other thoughts about lead follow-up? Great, so then we are at 3:03. I want to take 2 minutes, and I'd like to get 3 ahas before we stop for our break. Who has an aha to share?
Don't be shy.
Anyone learn anything in the last hour? Hopefully I haven't just been talking to myself.
Actually, I like the fact that having 2 prospects, because I always thought that I have to use all of those methods, and it's very overwhelming. So the fact that I can choose 2, it just makes me feel a little bit better. Concentrate on 2.
Awesome, thank you. And once you start using the same 5, start keeping track of where your actual business is coming from. Every time you have a closing, write down where it was where that transaction came from, and you'll find that about 80% of your business is going to come from 1 or 2 sources.
Yeah. The prospecting part is the one that I was having problem with, because I do most of my prospects right now is referrals, and I'm very good in volunteering and getting. But I always thought that I have to do everything.
Yeah, no, awesome. All right, what's another aha? Don't be shy.
The circle prospecting, just seeing it again to reevaluate and know that that's where, myself that I should be doing. And another one is also just to revisiting my values. Just how important that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Love that. Thank you. Hey, in the farming and the neighborhoods, I'd like to make this suggestion to you. If we know that someone buys or sells every 10 years, that means 10% of whatever my farm area is will buy or sell every year. And if I become that expert in that neighborhood, it's very simple for me to figure out how many need to be in my circle prospecting or in my farm. Because if I want to do 100 transactions a year, how many people do I need to have that are my committed clients that are in that area where I'm an expert? I need 1,000. That's it. It's that simple. So you can just do the math very easily to figure out what that should look like. One more aha and we can go to break.
I think don't stop calling the lead until they tell you to. I'm probably not that persistent.
Yeah. Nice. Good. They say it takes 8 no's to get to a yes. So even once you start talking to someone, if they say no, don't give up on them yet unless they tell you to stop. But they say it takes 8 no's before you'll get to a yes.
Ebru has a really good question in the chat. I've been getting a lot of leads from my rental listing. Do I treat these in the same way?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much for that. Danielle, you want to handle that one?
Yeah, one of my most favorite things is cultivating a rental lead that comes into a buyer, because there's a lot of people that just don't realize what it takes to buy a house, and they don't realize that they have what it takes to buy a house. And they're the best clients to work with because they're so grateful that you took the time to educate them and help them to better their lives. So yes, rental leads, they're just as good as any other lead. So keep it up.
And if you ask Danielle, she'll tell you, we don't really consider rental, when we list a rental, we don't really consider it for income. It's a marketing source. It's the purpose of the rental lead is for that exact reason, that we can add people to our database and then have potential buyers who we can market to consistently and convert those people who are currently renting into buyers down the road. Awesome. Yes, yes, did it yesterday. Same thing, 3 rentals, and they're giving you a lot of feedback. Great, Delise, cool. So, all right, so we are gonna go and take a break. How about if we take, is 7 minutes enough time for everybody? So it's now 3:08. We'll start back up at 3:15. I'm not going anywhere, so if anyone has questions or comments, or if you want to pick my brain for 5 minutes, I'm going to be right here. I don't need to go anywhere. So, but if not, we'll take a 7-minute break and we'll start back at 3:15.
Hello.
Or as Patty was saying, a social media post. There's also print advertising. There's also designs that you can add to your agent site, and then video designs. So if you can see here in, this is in Matt's command as our Rainmaker. We work mostly out of here. You'll see some of the design templates that we've made. All very, very simple. Really what the idea is to decide what type of marketing piece you want to create through designs, and then going from there. So just for argument's sake, we are going to just create some print marketing here. Okay, everybody with me so far? All right. So down here in the right-hand corner, you're just gonna press this plus sign. You're gonna decide what type of post you wanted to create. We're gonna create print marketing. Hit next. And this is gonna take you to your workspace where you're able to customize what your designs are. Now, there's tons of options for templates, which is really helpful, especially if you're trying to build a brand, right? We talked about that a little bit before. What's really great about Keller Williams is that they give us the tools to make that much more simple for us. So from here, you're going to decide, you know, do you want to use a template, or are you going to build from scratch, and what type of print marketing you want to create. So are you going to be sending postcards? There's also options for flyers, different size postcards, standard postcards, right? So we can work from either or, but I'll take a look here at what we have so we can start from scratch. So to start from a blank template, you're going to click here. And if you wanted a pre-made layout, then you are going to click here. Again, really easy. You know, you're just going to, from start to finish, pretty much just pick what you want to do. Where is this print marketing going to go? Are you actually going to print it? Flyers, postcards? Are you going to post it on social media? And then you're just going to choose for there. So for this, we'll just do some portrait postcards. Oh, that's strange. I'm going to log out of command and go back in, guys, because I'm not really sure what's happening here. So just bear with me one moment.
I like your purple browser, Danielle.
Oh, thanks. Fancy.
Do you guys do a lot of the print marketing pushed right through command, or do you order on a third party?
We actually are doing them right through command.
Cool.
I mean, it's just that command offers you so many opportunity, or, you know, so many different options for what you're going to do. Like I said, like, how simple is it to build a brand when you have these awesome templates here that you can choose from and, you know, build them to make them your own, or you have the option to start from scratch. If, say, you know, the red, white, black, gray theme isn't your thing, you want to incorporate a little bit more color into your brand, then you have that option. So
yeah, I think that's a really powerful thing about Keller Williams, right? You're not stuck within the overall brokerage marketing. You can brand yourself absolutely however you want to.
absolutely. Well, it looks like command is not wanting to cooperate with us today. Let's see if it'll allow me to use a template, since it won't let me start from scratch. Well, for argument's sake, we'll use this one. Okay, it looks like it's allowing us to use templates, so we'll go from there. All right, from here, you can customize this and make this really whatever you want it to be. You know, the message of this postcard is about what locals are saying about the area, and this is great for prospecting. If you're picking a neighborhood that you're focusing on, like Matt said, he enjoys working in Montgomery, then from there you're gonna find the information that Keller Williams provides us with because of neighborhoods, and put it here as to what locals say about the area. And then this is a great tool for you to send out to your either your farming area, or if you're prospecting around a recent sale. You have the opportunity to customize the front and the back, and then you can order these right through command, like Corinne was just talking about, and have them sent directly to a list. You upload the list, pretty simple. They mail them out for you, and there's no stuffing envelopes or putting on stamps or anything like that. So if you see here on the left-hand side, these are going to be all of your tools that you can use to customize this even more. You can add text boxes, icons, logos, and you can make it your own. So here we're introducing our new app. So maybe we want to, I don't know, make it fun, right? We can add banners if you want. I mean, it's really cool because you just have so many options, even to start with a template and make it your own. Let me just make sure that I'm still here.
I don't know if you can hear me, but for the postcards and stuff, do they create the mailing list? Like if you give them a radius from an address?
Yes, that's exactly how it's done. So what you would do is you would exactly either put a radius of an address, or you would put a neighborhood. You can also search by a school district, zip code, county, town, village. There's so many different ways that you can search so that you narrow down what the area is. And then they already have the information, and that's who they're mailing it to. So it's not even like, if you want, you can upload a list if you already have your own list, but it's also just as simple as putting that radius, selecting where you want it to send, and then sending it. A point that I do want to make, though, is it's really important to make sure that you're saving everything that you're doing and you're renaming it, just so that you're not getting it mixed up with other, things. So when you're saving it, you're going in, you can actually see some of them are untitled designs. These are ones that aren't finished, but it's important to name what you're doing. That way you're aware of what it is. And then that way it's easy to reuse, because as part of your brand and the aesthetics of your brand, you're going to be using a lot of the same templates over and over again. So that, again, you're top of mind, you're easy to find. So that's just a pretty basic overview of designs. I do encourage everybody to attend Corinne's class on designs, because you can go into so many different things. It's the depth of what your ability is through command, and what Keller Williams offers us is astounding. So Corinne, if you want to just mention again what date and time that is.
Yeah.
And I encourage you guys to attend, because there's a lot of great information.
Yes, it is June 18th at 1 p.m. It is on the group training calendar. And Danielle, I wanted to ask you, from your perspective, because you're working in designs and campaigns, how do you find that the design templates that you design over in designs really relate into the campaign section? Do you find that they work pretty seamlessly with one another?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We haven't had any issues, and command seems to be working at a very high level, to the point where we decided to cut our other CRM that we were using because of everything that command has to offer. I know that we're not really on, we were talking about designs, but briefly I'll show you guys that, campaigns, let me share my screen here. Campaigns is another great way for you to, build your brand. Sorry, my dog thinks he's a cat. To build your brand, to build your brand, and then, share that out, and again, target different communities. So when we're running and we're creating these ads, they're looking just like what command or what designs has and what we're creating in there, so that when we're running these campaigns and we're taking buyers and people are seeing our ads in the areas that we're targeting, then when they come to our Facebook and they're doing more research about it, it's all the same. It all looks the same. They're getting the same message. Yeah, I mean, it's been really great for us. We've been seeing a lot of success. I don't know if you saw just on the campaigns page, but we're getting between 30 to 50 leads per campaign that we're running, and our cost per lead is like $1 right now. So it's a good return on investment.
Danielle, when you target buyers, do you target the area where you, do you target, like, say, the city, if you want to sell upstate for those buyers, or is your audience where you want to get the buyers? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you understand?
Yeah, that's a really great question. We do both. So our buyer's agent, she likes to work in a specific area. She never turns down a buyer, but she really enjoys working in the Cornwall area. So we consistently have an ad to attract buyers running in the Cornwall area. Then that way, and that's through her command. That way those leads coming in, she's cultivating and she's working with. But then recently we've seen in the market, and that was a great point that you made, Patty, about New York City, is that every buyer we're working with right now, if they're not sellers that are also buying in the area, they're from New York City. And so, yes, we have been heavily targeting New York City in our campaigns that we're running, and seeing great results from it. So it really depends on what your strategy is really the answer to that question, Patty. But both work.
I think I've focused like on buyers out of town, and I'm thinking maybe I should, you know, target where I want to attract buyers to buy versus just always looking for out of towners.
Yeah, they're both great strategies. I mean,
my only other issue that I have a lot is doing the creating the list through like what is it? I want to say Monkey. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
MailChimp?
MailChimp, that's it.
Monkey.
I knew it was something like that. And doing the email blast. I just can't get my list created. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'll have to maybe sit in with Corinne on her class.
Yes, or reach out to Scott Leroy with your list, because they'll upload it for you.
But if you want to change it, like, you know, you can only have one audience, I guess, at a time, and then sometimes I want to change the audience. I just seem to be struggling with that part of it, but I'll try that as well.
We actually had to upgrade our plan, and we pay a small amount per month so that we can have multiple audiences. That way we're dripping to the different audiences in our database via email. It just made it a little simpler, and it's not a huge cost. So maybe something.
Okay. Yeah, that part of it's, you know, been a big challenge as far as trying to figure that out.
Yeah. All right, any other quick questions about designs or campaigns before we move on from this activity? Now, Corinne, I know that there's a couple more slides with design examples, if you want to show your screen.
Sure. Okay, so we have some examples here. This, to be totally honest, everyone, we all decided that this was actually maybe a good place for opportunity to learn what might not be a good design to create in campaigns and designs. I think, you know, when something is so simple and there's not that much information that you're trying to express, the photo is ultimately the most important piece of the design, correct? So this photo itself, you know, although it does show a lot of details about the home, it's very busy, so your eye is really distracted, and this is more going into kind of an artistic and aesthetic point of view. But you want your photos to be very bold and very simple as much as possible, so that people will see the picture and be attracted to the photo, but then they'll go on to read the information. So your eyes are attracted to what first? The photo, and then to the information. So that's sort of what you want to think about when you're creating these designs. Also, just another kind of aesthetic thing, when you're creating a design, just from a graphic design point of view, your eye follows a certain pattern across the page, and you want to give your viewers a sense of rhythm and pattern as they're viewing it. So even if, we'll go into this more in my designs class, but I would think that actually something down here that's more weight, as they say, something that's more information, and maybe not having this couch so featured in this design would make it have more of an impact, to take away from some of the picture and then to draw your eye back and forth throughout the photo. So this is just one example, and they just put this in the PowerPoint and Ignite to show, you know, you can make something very quickly and very easily. This is just a template with a photo and their proprietary logo in there. I think that it's also a good way to feature the fact, again, that in Keller Williams, you can brand yourself however you want. there's no red or black, predominant really in this image or in the design branding. And here their group design is actually a lot more prominent even than the Keller Williams Partners logo. So that's something that we want to ensure that you understand, especially as new agents. You can go ahead and create your own logo and create your own branding and create, your own font even with a graphic designer and use that in Command as much as possible, so that you're really creating something totally different and totally new. At the same time, all of these preloaded designs are in there for your use, and for your ease of use, to make sure that you do have something that looks good. But again, it kind of goes back to this image, right? The image is so important. So if you don't have a good image, ultimately the design template that Command creates for you isn't necessarily going to carry you all the way. So that's just speaks to the fact, again, part of your branding and part of your value proposition, right, to your clients is that you get great photography and you get a great photographer to make sure you have those really powerful images to use in your marketing and in your branding as well.
That's such a great point. Something else that I want to share with you guys is we've seen a lot of success when we're only using one image. If you, again, we don't want to use more than one image because it just gets too busy and it distracts your eye. So I recommend personally, and we see a lot of success for marketing that at least the front where we want to send our message and we want to have a call to action, we're going to keep that with one photo. If you wanted to share a couple small photos of the inside of the house or the outside of the house, whatever you prefer, on the back side, that's a great place to put that. But on the front where you're putting a call to action and you're putting the bulk of the message, you want to keep that to one image.
Great. That's a great point. I think you could say something similar with this design, right, Danielle, that it's a little bit busy. There's a little bit more information than we necessarily need. I do love these drag and drop features of the neighborhood snaps of what's happening in the neighborhood. This is an awesome feature in Command. I think that if you made this more dominant or even took just the information from this snap and included it somewhere in your design to take away some, sort of this unnecessary design work. We're not sitting here saying like every single template in the designs section of Command is perfect for you. You really have to kind of have a discerning eye and understand what your branding is. Like Danielle said, for their team, they keep everything incredibly simple with one photo, and that works for them over and over and over again. So just carrying that through and really having your own understanding of what works for you and your brand is so important.
And then if you're sending this for print marketing, it's really important to follow up with an email or to your specific database that you have in that area. So if you're doing this for farming, which this looks like a farming piece to me, this agent is specifically farming to this Gem Heights area, then they should have a database already in Gem Heights that they should be creating a database. So you're gonna wanna follow it up with an email that looks almost identical to what you're print marketing in. Again, that's part of aesthetics, part of branding, staying top of mind.
Right.
Yeah, and to that same branding conversation, there's other teams who on every postcard that goes out, there's 2 or there's 3 images. Just want to be consistent with what you're doing so that people get used to seeing the same thing over and over again, and they know when they see it, they don't even have to see your name at some point in time. They just assume that it's you.
Come in. Come
Who's
in.
laughing? Let's hear some feedback. What do you think about this design? Good, bad, perfect? What would you change? This is like art class now. Yeah, I'm gonna say I think that, it's sort of a confusing message, I guess. I understand, like, it's powerful, right, that we just listed this, and this is pending. That's great. But what is this messaging? It's all in the details. It's sort of, I don't understand what the call to action is. Perhaps that's their tagline or something, but that's not directly related to the messaging that they have supporting this all in the details message with the images. You always want the image to support any copy that's on the marketing piece. Would you agree, Danielle?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
If you're talking about details and you wanted to put a very detailed picture of something well staged, that's different. I mean, but here to me, the message would be is, you know, the market's heating up. Are you looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Now's the time, right? So that would be a much better message and call to action on a piece of marketing like this.
Yes, I agree. I do like their logo.
Yeah.
So that's something. Okay, so the activity it's prompting us to do is to create material using designs in command. We will definitely let you guys experiment. And also, again, on that class on the 18th that I'm hosting, if you want to come to that, I please encourage you to do so and come with your ahas or your feedback or questions that you have after you go ahead and start playing around in the design section. Okay, so campaigns in command. Danielle kind of went over this. Is there anything else that you guys want to take a few minutes on to go into in more depth that Danielle might help to demonstrate?
Who here has a campaign running right now?
I know Patty does, probably. I know Delise probably does. Do any?
I'm working on starting a new campaign. My last one I had expired, but I'm trying to get one put together.
Great.
That's great. That's great. So this is a really great and inexpensive tool and a way for you to generate leads. We run campaigns for $10 a day for 10 days, and we're getting 50 leads. So for $10, and then average return on that conversion is 2 buyers for every 50 that we are generating. So for $15, you could potentially be making a couple of $1,000, $10,000, right? Depending on what your market is. So campaigns is a really inexpensive way. And I have hats off to Keller Williams because of the relationship that we have with Facebook, that they've made this possible for us. And they're good leads. They're all coming in with email addresses, phone numbers that are working. So I really encourage all of you guys, if you don't have a campaign running, to start one today and see what kind of results you get from it.
Danielle, can you just, I love hearing this, and it always makes me excited to hear how much success you guys are having, but what's the secret, right? Like what is your copy and what are your images and what's your call to action? These are all the things that really make the difference in what kind of leads you're getting, right? So how do you make it clear for people that are seeing your ads to know that they want to click on that?
So we're always using the best image that we have for any listing. You just want to make it look as best as possible. There's always a call to action. So I recently ran one to Brooklyn with a 50-mile radius, and the interests that I selected were only 3 interests: Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com. Because if they're using those 3 websites or apps, then Facebook has already picked up on their algorithm that they're doing that. And if they're looking on those 3 apps, they're looking to buy a house. And some of them have a house to sell before they buy. So, and then that kind of goes back to what Matt was talking about orphaned buyers, because a lot of people, they bought their house from an agent sold it to them. And so why are they looking on Realtor.com and they're not talking to their agent? Because they've been orphaned. They don't know who their agent is, or they don't remember how to contact them. So we choose those as the 3 interests, because again, if they're searching on those apps, they're looking to buy a house. And then we just keep it really simple. The call to action that I put was, are you looking to move upstate and out of the Big Apple, with an apple emoji? That's all it said. Learn more, click here. It had the address of the house, of the listing. We targeted those 3 interests, and then we did a 50-mile radius around, I think that one was Queens, which end up getting all of New York City. I believe, I want to give you an exact number, but that brought in 49 leads.
That's awesome.
One ad, and it cost us 49 leads. It cost us $8.88.
Incredible. That's really great.
Yeah. Keep it super simple. Target the right areas, and you know, have a call to action. Why do they want to click on this ad? Intrigue them.
Very cool. Okay, social. And do you use campaigns to push out social posts just to your Facebook, not the paid ads, but just your social posting?
Yeah, absolutely. We run the neighborhood videos, and we run those on Facebook almost constantly for the neighborhoods that we farm in. So Montgomery, Pine Bush, Town of Crawford, that area. We always have an updated marketing video so that we're snapshotting the areas, and then we're sharing that on our Facebook.
Cool. Okay, so in this marketing section, we are back in the recap and ahas. Does anybody have questions, ahas around some of the campaigns or just the designs? What do you need to learn more about?
Everything.
No questions?
And mine, more simple.
Yeah, simple is best, right? That's my aha today too, I think.
I think I tried to put too much information in there instead of sticking to the basics.
That's a really great point, Patty, because if you give them all the information, what reason do they have to talk to you? Right?
That,
so you
that's another good point.
not just enough that they're intrigued enough that they're going to pick up the phone for you, or they're going to reach out directly to you to look for more information. So sometimes I don't even include the address. I just put a really nice picture of a house with a call to action, and people are like, well, what's the address? Where is this house? But then that gives me a reason to have a conversation with them around real estate so that I can understand what they're looking to do, and so that we can help them to reach their goals. So give them a reason to call you, or a reason for them to pick up the phone when you call.
Perfect.
Great job, Danielle, says Delise.
Delise.
And
And if I can just interject one other thought on that, I'll just say, be consistent with what you're doing. We talked about that in our mastermind time. Be really consistent in the marketing pieces that you're using, in that branding, because if you jump all over the place and you do a different design every time and a different style, a different layout, you won't get any kind of patterns in your results. Once you do the same thing over and over and you get a consistent result, then you can make changes and know if your change helped or hurt what it was that you were doing. Until we really were able to get consistent with the marketing we were doing, we were unable to get improvement in what we were doing, because we didn't know what we were doing right and what we were doing wrong. So start with one thing, be committed to it, do it multiple times for several months. And then if you feel like you're not getting the result you should get, then start making small changes and see if you get a positive or a negative result from those changes. So that's keeping track. The path is in the math, and you'll really find the way to get better and better results as you do it.
Absolutely. And without consistency, do you really have a brand? So you just got to ask yourself that. What type of sorry, what type of brand do you have if you're not being consistent? So great point, Matt. Thank you.
yeah, I like that. The path is in the math. That's a good one.
My entire team would tell you that is one of my favorite quotes.
I like that one. It's true.
Well, Danielle, figure it out. The path is in the math. Go back to the math.
Matt, and Danielle, do you guys want to talk about like the daily habits that you have around branding and marketing? I know that we kind of went over that, but is there anything more concrete that you want to add to that?
it's a conversation every week. It's something we talk about. It's part of our weekly meetings, and it really is about consistency. I'll tell you that a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were all over the place. We were sometimes running Facebook posts, sometimes not. Sometimes doing postcards, sometimes not. Sometimes doing mailers. Every time we did a postcard, it was a totally different design with different colors and different layouts. And there was no way to know what was working. And then Danielle came into my life and changed things and said, no, we have to do this differently, and really took us down that path so that we were just being consistent and then keeping track of the results we were getting so that we could really just keep making the small adjustments. And you know me, I mean, the way I am, I'm all over the place and I have all these great ideas. Oh, this is a good idea, that good idea. The shiny object syndrome that all us realtors have. When you can get consistent, you'll just find that it becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
And as Matt's assistant, I keep a list of those ideas, and if I don't hear them again, they stay on the list. If they come up 2 or 3 times in a conversation, that's when I start to take action on them and start to do my research and see what is the result that we can really get. This is an idea we really should be pursuing. But I don't pursue it until I hear it more than once, right? And it's not just, I just want to add that it's not just about Matt and I, it's about the whole team's brand. So our transaction coordinator is actually a part-time buyer's agent. So her marketing planning needs to be consistent with ours. And our full-time buyer's agent, the same thing. The marketing and the branding that we're doing for her and that she's doing on her own needs to be consistent with what the team's branding is, and that's part of our vision, and it's also part of our value proposition that we offer to our teammates, is that we're going to support them in doing that, and it really just has to be consistent across the board, because we don't say I on our team. Everything is we. It's our brand, it's our vision, it's our message that we want to put across, and we just need to make sure that we're being consistent with it, because when somebody calls in, whether it's for Marcy or Linda or Matt or any other person on our team that's selling, they're going to know Gibbs team.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle. All right, so we are in the home stretch now. So we're now going to talk about the goals that you set to set your career on fire, right? So the real activities that you need to be focused on in your business. And I got to tell you, this rule of 10, that number 10 comes up in my real estate business more than you could know. And I'll tell you that it really is this simple. If you want to have a grossly successful career in real estate, talk to 10 people every day about real estate. 10, not 100, not 10,000 contacts a week. Talk to 10 a day. Add 10 contacts to your database every day. Send out 10 handwritten notes every day. I might talk to 20 or 25 people. These handwritten notes, when I send them, and I'm working to get more consistent with sending handwritten notes, people love these handwritten notes. When they receive them, I get a phone call back every time I send out one of these notes. Oh my God, I haven't gotten a note like that in 10 years. I can't believe you took the time to write out a little note, just a little thank you card. Hey, I'm thinking about you, and send it. And you'll be amazed at the return you'll get and the response you'll get. And what does that cost you? 52 cents for a stamp, I think right now. Am I right? 54 cents, whatever a stamp is. And you can send out 10 cards in 20 minutes. So really take the time to do that. And then of course, you want to make sure that you're doing 10 home previews every week. Even if you don't have a buyer, I bet you've gotten a lead this week, and that's a buyer that may be looking in that area. So go and preview 10 houses every week, whether you preview them virtually or physically. Take the time, because that's how you're really going to get to know the inventory. And the better you know the inventory when the calls come in, the more powerful conversations you can have with those initial conversations you're having. Next. So scripts, I am not sure if Anna encouraged each one of you yesterday, but I'm going to encourage you today. Pick a script partner and pick someone who maybe is not your friend. Pick someone who's going to hold you accountable and make sure that you're doing script practice every day, 5 days a week. And script practice should not take long. My script partners, we call when my phone rings. If it's their turn to call me, I get the call, I answer the phone, hello, and they're straight into their script. It's no hello, how are you, what's going on, the weather, this, that, none of it. It's straight into the script. When we get to the end, I hang up. And then I call them back and I go straight into my script. At the end, we take 2 minutes. They give me a minute of feedback. I give them a minute of feedback, and we're on with our day. If after that we want to chit chat, we hang up again, and then we can call back and have a social call if we want to and we have time. But just have the structure and the discipline with a script partner, and that's who you want to pick. Someone who you know will hold you accountable to practice every day and treat it like a business and be professional and practice your scripts and then move on with your day. So there are some great scripts here. It's a little tough to role play on Zoom. So I'm just going to really encourage each one of you, reach out to someone else and pick a script partner and really practice these scripts that they're offering us here. What do I have left here? Do I have script practice, do not call list, lead gen, calling with scripts. And right now really is the easiest time to lead generate, because these care calls are some of the easiest calls to make. And I'll tell you, I don't think care calls will ever leave my my habits from now on, because whether we're dealing with COVID or viruses, or if we're dealing with protests and riots throughout our country, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. We can always just make a care call and say, hello, I'm thinking about you, I care about you, is there anything you need? And that is a phone call that people will never forget. If you think about it in your life, when someone calls you and asks you those simple questions, you don't tend to forget those conversations. I got a question here. Where can we find the scripts? And that should be in your participant guide. Corinne, if they don't have it, where can they find the participant guide? You're muted.
Participant guide is on KW Connect. If you search KW Connect Ignite 2.0, it will come up materials and you'll see that. You can download everything that you need there.
Great, thank you. And then of course, the most important thing you can do after you make those contacts and you have those conversations, make sure that you take the time, go into command and update those contacts, update their information, put comments in there, and set follow-up. When you end each call, you should be making a commitment to when they should expect to hear from you next. And it might be they don't have anything active going on in real estate, and hey, is it okay if I give you a call in about a month and I'll talk to you next month? And that's okay to say, but then make sure you set a follow-up reminder and follow up, because I'll tell you, that's where all the money is made. The money is made in the follow-up. And we're going to go right past that. And then of course you can get lots of help on command, right in command itself, and also through Connect. KW Connect is a great place to go for resources and lots of training and videos. We also, through our market centers relationships, we also have a membership with Scott Leroy Marketing, which is another great training resource as well. Scott Leroy offers us an amazing library of videos and training, so be sure to check that out. Create your success list. So write down what action items you're going to take. As soon as we're done, we're going to be done here in about, I think, another 2 minutes. Take 5 minutes and write down 5 action items, 5 action steps you're going to take, and then just on a little form just like this. Nothing complicated, nothing simple, but write them down and make a commitment as to what action steps you're going to take after this 2 hours that you've committed of your life. And of course, there's a survey to take. All right, so how about a little feedback? Ahas. Let's get 3 and then we'll end the call.
Sometimes I think I should be on a team.
Well, that's a good
Instead of
aha.
by myself.
That's a good aha.
If you're ever interested, Patty, we're here. You can, we're always happy to have that conversation.
Yeah, I might call you because I feel sometimes like I'm floundering here by myself. So.
Well, we're happy to help any way we can.
Patty, we're also going to have a leveraging mastermind with different agents who have different combinations of leverage. So Matt has his team. Some agents just have a part-time VA. Some team just have marketing help. So there's a lot of different ways and combinations that you can feel like maybe you have more of a team as well.
Okay, thank you.
But I think that's a good aha for sure.
Yeah. My aha is still the same because I always used to think I have to do everything. So my aha is like, especially when I just finished Bold and people are saying they added 100 contacts in one day, they added 50 in one day, and you feel you are not doing enough if you're not doing the same level as those other people. So now I know I can do 10, I should be happy with 10, at least for now. So it's good to know.
I love that. There is a Chinese proverb, and I cannot remember it word for word, but it basically says, "He who chases 2 rabbits gets none."
That's true.
So just pick a focus, decide what it is that what works for you, and go after that and do that. That's great. I love that. Thank you.
Sure.
One more. I need one more aha or feedback here.
I'll share. I think what you said at the end with follow-up, like especially with everything going on, I think it's so important. I think I need to go through my contacts again, really take that time and really just do a follow-up with all family, friends, all that. I think I need to, there's so many days where I'm so connected and then there's days that I fall back. So I think you reassuring that is just something that I definitely need to work on.
Yeah, listen, when I follow up, if someone doesn't want to talk to me, guess what? They don't answer their phone. And I'm okay with that. I may leave them a message or shoot them a text. If someone answers their phone, it's because they're happy to hear from me and they have time to talk. And that's great. And if they don't have time or they don't want to talk, it doesn't bother them that their phone rang. They just may not answer the call, and that's okay. But for sure, the money is in the follow-up. That's where you're going to find the income. So definitely, and as you continue down this process, think about when you're doing follow-up, is there a simple question that you can integrate into that conversation, like asking them, hey, when's your birthday? Or hey, can I make sure I have your birthday correct? And then that's a data point that you can add into your database that gives you another chance to follow up once a year by calling them to wish them a happy birthday. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing and for being here today. If there's ever anything I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always happy to help and always happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Thank you.
All right. You got anything in closing?
Thank you.
I think that was great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye now.
Sure. Bye-bye.